Richard, be ready. All right, good Friday morning, everybody. Welcome to your Friday morning safety meeting. My name is John Harden. I'm in the safety department. With me this morning is Mr. David White. Good morning, Dave.
Morning, John. Doing good?
Absolutely doing good. A little tired of the cold weather here, but
a little cool outside this morning. We got a little wind going, and they're saying it's supposed to be in the 40s today, though. That's a heat trend for us down here.
It will be. It looks like coming into next week. So we're going to work through it the best we can and just deal with it and hope for warmer weather soon. So, today is Friday, February 14th. Gentlemen, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's Valentine's Day. It's still early. You still have time if you've forgotten. So make sure you make correct arrangements and save yourself if you haven't done anything already. So
there's a little bit of a hint behind us, John. Like I said, behind us.
It is, absolutely. So we want to welcome everybody here. We do this every Friday, 52 Fridays a year, and this is your meeting. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns at any time during the meeting, feel free to grab a microphone. We've got a couple of folks here in Springfield. I know we've got microphones in Pittston and Salt Lake City as well. So don't be afraid to raise your hand, ask a question. We're here to help. We're here to answer anything we can. If we can't answer it, we'll get somebody up here that will.
Also, too, we got it out there on social network as well. About every one of them, I think you could come up with. So Dennis has those down memorized this morning, but I appreciate you stepping in because Dennis is a little bit under the weather.
He is.
So thank you for getting that. But I want to say a big shout out to all of our drivers out there that are listening to this, going down the road delivering freight. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Appreciate you. I know you guys have a bunch of challenges, and so do many of you in here this year so far. The weather hasn't been your friend, but hey, we're heading in the right direction. Though we get further into February, into March, hey, we'll be getting out of this winter weather stuff. So.
Absolutely. So, I see everybody out here kind of heads down, eating breakfast. So we like to take this opportunity every week to thank John Blansett and his team here in Springfield, as well as the other members in Salt Lake City and Pittston providing the breakfast for us. So let's give them a round of applause this morning. All right, so let's just jump right into the first speaker this morning. Who are we going to bring up?
Let's bring up old Colby and Rachel. All right, good morning, guys. Driver Health and Fitness. Great to have you this morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you, buddy? So my old Colby, huh, Dave? Thanks. Appreciate that. So good morning, everybody. So again, I'm Colby with our Driver Health and Fitness. Rachel's our registered dietitian. And actually, we're going to play on the Valentine's issue. So if we can, on the Valentine's, let's call it issue, but the day of Valentine's. So we're just talking about self-respect and self-love, ways we do that as drivers, ways we do that, way we do those as people. And so I just want to pull up a couple examples here. And it has a lot of ways of looking at it. What I would actually ask a few of you, and I asked a few of you already too, is just looking at certain ways like showing your self-respect and some self-love would be through movement. As drivers, movement's a big part, getting out of your truck. Anybody here do any kind of movement that may be what you can consider movement, getting out of your truck? Anybody show of hands, what you can consider movement? In-house people, I know the same thing. There, I know Jason, I know you do. So, and like I said, movement, getting out of the truck, those kinds of things. Another way is looking at nutrient-dense eating. What does that look like, Rachel?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but there definitely are ways to get more nutrients in being over the road instead of more like calorie-dense foods. So those more nutrient-dense foods really, really help you to feel better. And like that's kind of where a lot of things start is like what you're putting in your mouth, because most of us are eating multiple times a day, so it really can make a big impact. So if you ever need help with trying to like change your eating pattern in any way over the truck, just come talk to me or shoot me a message on the Pride.
So that's a good point. John, you want to come up here for a sec? We were just talking about it, and I asked him to be vulnerable for a second. Is like, this is something you're doing, yeah? This is something that we've kind of joked about back and forth, but you're like, no, this is actually something you have done, and it's not difficult, is it?
It's not, start of the year, usually everybody sets goals, and I think that setting a goal and trying to achieve that really makes a difference. Writing it down, thinking about it, talking about it. So, I reached out to Rachel here not too long ago about the nutrient-dense eating. So I'm trying to do better. I need to do better.
Yeah.
Kind of getting older, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's been, I haven't been on this for very long at all, and it's already made a difference with how I feel, and I've already lost a little weight with minimal effort on the exercise part of it, so it's really making an impact for me.
Well, I love that you say that, because one thing we always talk about is like having a resource, right? And I'm like, I don't I don't mean to be like pushy on people. I'm like, but when you have somebody like Rachel, a registered dietitian, to talk to and ask questions to, like, it simplifies the thing, right? Gives you some things to look for. And the other thing is, and you made a great point, is, and I say this in the world, especially over the road, movement can be difficult. Getting out and exercising can be difficult. Being intentional with your workouts can be difficult, whether it be delays, just traffic, things like that, weather. But what you can do is you can eat because you're going to, right? So make those decisions. So that's why I love to hear you say that, because you're doing that and seeing results, but more just how you feel. I asked you that the other day, right? How do you feel? And that's what I always ask people, is it's more about how do you feel? Yeah, scales are important, numbers, those things are important. Blood pressure is an important number. But ultimately, if we look at it, how do you feel? That's something we can measure and be into it about ourselves often. So
I will. And I'll say another thing, I really made a conscious effort not to go out to eat, especially fast food. I've got a 12-year-old son that would eat McDonald's 6 times a day. And I tell him no 6 times a day. But, since I started going to the store and just picking up these rotisserie chickens at Sam's or Walmart or whatever that are $5, I mean, I'm saving a lot of money.
Yeah. And I love that too, because I think that's for Rachel. That's something that she talks about a lot, is what food preparation does for you, but also planning food. Is it's a way to look at cost savings, right? So not only is it nutritionally is it better for you, but it's good for your pocketbook too.
It really has been.
Yeah, that's what I think is amazing. We talked, and I mean, we're going down a rabbit hole, which I love, but we talked about a driver once that was spending $250 to $270 a week that now spends $160 to $170 a month because they were eating out every meal, and now they're prepping meals. So if health doesn't get you, saving money should, right?
Absolutely.
So no, I appreciate that. So the last couple of things, and it's Rachel, you can come back up if you want. Just talking about a sleep routine. Again, guys, like I said, I wanted John to talk about that. Having some kind of sleep routine. If you don't have one, we kind of talk about it's a good habit to how do you get yourself to bed, or what do you do to get yourself ready, whether it be the 3-2-1 method we talked about before, about not eating food 3 hours before. What was it 2 hours? Just keep going.
Yeah.
This was
2 hours, you try to limit fluids so that you don't have to wake up as much and go to the bathroom and interrupt your sleep. And then 1 hour before, you try to limit screens and like bright lights as much as possible, which even if you're on your phone or on some type of screen, almost always they have an option in settings to turn it on to like dark mode or night mode. And that really helps out.
Love it. Anybody have a sleep routine they do? I know Dennis does. Anything you do before you get to bed? Anybody? We just go lay down. You go on Facebook. That's what we're talking about. You don't do. Okay, good. You're learning then. You shouldn't do that, right? So read a book. See, that's a good one, because also reading a book, that's another part of growing your mind, right? So I love that. So 2 birds, 1 stone. Great. Yeah, I'm the same page. Read a couple pages and fall asleep to it. I like that. So a couple other things, like I said, stress reduction, and then looking at connections. Connections is another good one. That's another reason I say get out of your truck, talk to people, talk to your fleet manager, talk to us, connect with people, connect with family, connect with friends. It's a big part. So as always, we're here to help you any way we can. Always want to give you as much information as we can to be transparent. So anybody have any questions while I'm up here?
So someone had a question that they typed in. So they were saying, what is nutrient dense food? So like nutrient dense foods are basically foods that have more of your like protein options, that have more fiber. That's a really, really easy one to look for on the label, is protein and fiber. And then versus like not a ton of calories. So let's say, like we talked a second earlier, rotisserie chicken versus fried chicken. That is a super simple answer of like a rotisserie chicken is a nutrient dense option that is pretty truck friendly too. I had a driver the other day she puts a rotisserie chicken in a gallon bag, and then she just like shakes it all up with her hands, and that's how she debones it and gets all the skin off, and she just keeps it in that bag so she doesn't get her hands all gross. So that's a nutrient dense option. Like snack options would be like trail mix that are nutrient dense. RX bars are a really, really great protein bar that are a whole food, super nutrient dense, nothing weird added to them that increases the calories and that doesn't increase the nutrition.
Nice.
So just a couple examples.
Love it. Okay. Any other questions? All right. We're here to help any way we can.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, wait.
Thank you.
There you go, buddy.
Hey, appreciate a lot of good information. And, just from a personal experience, reach out to these two if you have not. Send them an email. If you're here on the terminal, come see them. They sit right up here, the second level back here in the hallway. So please reach out to them. They're extremely helpful.
And not only that, I've even went to them and they tell me what the best bars to eat over there are in the cafeteria and such. Sometimes we get over there cafeteria, you got a little sweet tooth going and you want to pick a cake or a piece of pie or something, but Many times there's those energy bars or nutritious bars over there, and they'll tell you which ones to pick and which ones to kind of stay away from, and they'll help you out on that too as well. So,
All right.
info.
Yes, it is. Let's move on to our next speakers here. We're going to bring up some folks from our maintenance department here. We're going to bring up Trent and Tommy, and I'm sure you guys have got a lot to talk about this time of year.
Always, every February. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so this morning I brought up Tommy. He's our new carrier rep. He started here, I think last year he started doing this, right? About a year ago?
It was September of last year.
Okay, not quite, yeah, so a few months. Anyway, Tommy's going to talk about our new fuel system on these new reefers, so go ahead.
Hey, so on the Carrier 7700s, we've got a upgrade for the fuel system on them because we've been having some stall issues. This should be rolling out here in a month and a half. So there'll probably be a big push to get the 7700s into a terminal or back to a dealer to get this upgrade done. Basically, just the gist of it is an upgraded fuel pump and adding in a secondary filter. So not too bad. The repair should take about 2 hours. Not anything major. But also we are getting a software update here soon that will allow you guys to hit the menu key twice, and then at the bottom of the display, your third option will allow you to turn on the fuel pump and allow the unit to prime up just in case it's gotten ran out of fuel or whatever it is. It'll, as soon as you hit it, it'll start the fuel pump and it'll have a timer for about 5 minutes, and then you can, as soon as that 5 minutes runs out, it'll be ready to start up and try to avoid any fuel prime issues, so you don't have to go to a shop and get that taken care of. But
So the 7700 units are going to be our newer reefer units. They'll have 77 on the side of the door of the trailer, but they started coming into the fleet late 2023. So I don't know the exact number of when they started, but it's going to be on the newer trailers.
yeah. The only other thing I want to bring up is just the stress on the pre-trip. If you're picking up an empty trailer, just take the time to, run the unit for just a few minutes, hit that pre-trip. If there's something wrong with the unit, 90% of the time that pre-trip is going to tell you before you even go off to get it loaded. So I think that's about it.
And that's huge. That's very, very important. Every time before you arrive at the shipper, do that pre-trip on the reefer unit to make sure we don't have any issues that are underlying that might cause a big problem once the trailer is loaded. There's a video on YouTube if you guys need some help in understanding how to do and start a pre-trip on a reefer unit. Check that video out. This is going to be on the Carrier and the Thermo King units. So thank you, Tommy. Does anybody have any questions about our carriers? Any of our reefers?
It's just the newer 7700. The 7500, it has no electric fuel pump. It's still the old school manual pump.
Those of us that have been here for a minute are jumping with joy right now, because if you've ever primed a reefer unit, the manual priming, man, it is a job. So these new reefers, it's a lot easier. They've got a pump down there that are going to help push the fuel into the engine. So thanks, Tommy.
You're welcome.
They're not going to give me the mic and not have me talk about winter. So at this point in the year, we've all been dealing with it for a couple of months. It's not a new thing, but we're all starting to get tired of it, right? It's starting to get some fatigue, and it's not the time to overlook it. We're not done yet. You've still got probably another month before it's going to start warming up. So I'm going to hit on it again. Make sure you're treating your fuel. Make sure you're adding anti-gel in anytime it's going to get cold out. But this morning I want to focus on this new product that we're selling. This stuff is the stuff that we're selling at our terminals now. It's very cheap. This bottle right here, it's 32 ounces. This bottle costs $5.37. That's what we're charging you guys for it. And this bottle will treat 750 gallons of diesel fuel. When you go to a truck stop and get a bottle of Power Service, like a gallon bottle that treats 250 gallons, it's going to be about $25. So dramatically cheaper here. Get this stuff at the terminal. But also important, make sure you're not over treating your fuel. Make sure you're not putting too much of this stuff in. This is very, very concentrated. And if you dump an entire bottle into one tank, you could potentially have issues with putting too much of the stuff in. So about 4 1/4 ounces is how much you need to dump in to treat 100 gallons of fuel. And easy solution that I came up with to help you guys out here is one of these juice bottles. This is an 11-ounce juice bottle. You fill this up with anti-gel, put a little bit less than 1/2 in one tank, which is about how much orange juice I have in the bottle right now. That's your treatment for one tank, a little bit less than half in the other tank. And then the remainder of the bottle goes in your reefer unit. Again, check your stock of everything. Make sure you have enough of this anti-gel. Kitty litter is really good for getting out of slick spots. If you've used this stuff at any point so far this winter, make sure you're getting some more of it. So when you run into the problem again, you'll be ready to go again. Okay? Anybody have any questions on any of that?
Yes, you mentioned that if you actually overtreat your fuel with that concentrate, you might have problems. What are some of the problems you might have?
It's kind of dicey and we're not really sure. But we have had some trucks go down and the shops have been telling us that fuel additives could possibly be a factor in that. So it's just something that we don't want to use too much of it if we don't need it. Obviously, we're going to have to use it. We're going to have to put it in the tanks. And the colder and colder it gets outside, we do need to add more to compensate for the colder weather. But we don't want to put more than we need in there. So another product that I want to show you, this is called Diesel 911. This is an ungelling agent. This is not anti-gel. This is actually going to take frozen gel and return it back to a liquid. Really good idea to carry some of this around with you. If you do have gelled fuel, you've got a solution to get it moving again. Also, usually when we need this stuff, we need the fuel filters replaced too. So grab some of those and have an extra set of fuel filters ready to go. These things can be really hard to find, in Nebraska, Wyoming, when it's, -20 out and there's 50 trucks on the lot that all need this, the stock runs out pretty fast. So have it ready to go, and that way you're going to be good when the situation pops up. But if you don't have any other questions, that's all I've got for you. I appreciate y'all. Stay safe out there. It's cold. Get through this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Those new trailers sound like a pretty convenient option to what we've been dealing with in the past. So
Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, got to make sure you have that anti-gel and all that, those products in your truck. And just like Trent said, man, it's a lot cheaper to get them through Prime, get them to terminals than it is out on the road. So
absolutely. So we're going to take this opportunity. We do this every week. I see a few yellow vests here at the terminal in Springfield, and I'm sure we've got a few in Salt Lake City and Pittston as well. So if this is your first week here at Prime, if you're new, whether you're an AC coming in with your permit to get a CDL, go ahead and stand up. Let us recognize you, welcome you to the family. We appreciate that you guys are here, and we know that you're the best of the best because you are here. So, a couple of things that we really want to get out about Prime in general as a company is we're very transparent. And that card that you wear around your lanyard there, that'll get you into any door you need to. So whenever you're here, we really encourage you, go in and talk to your fleet manager, go in and talk to your payroll associate, talk to your road assist advisor, build those relationships because those are your team members that are going to help your business be successful out here. So the more that you're in tune with them and they're in tune with you, the more successful you're likely going to be out there. Dave, you want to add anything to that?
yeah, John's spot on. Log department, same thing. Road assist, make sure you know your folks. That's the biggest thing. And when you're here, see if they're on site. Many times they are, and just go down and meet them, get to know them. Because that's your lifeblood there to make you successful here, and especially your fleet manager. John spent about 15 years doing that before he transitioned over to intermodal. Then eventually we got him into safety, thank goodness. And yeah, he's the most experienced to talk about that. He's spot on. There's no doubt. You got to have those relationships, and that's what makes you go. And you're more apt to, you got a question, go to your fleet manager. If you can't get a hold of your fleet manager, they're hard to get a hold of. And sometimes they do get busy. There's no doubt. Get a hold of one of us in safety. We'll help you out. We'll do anything we can to answer that question or get you to the right people they can. So
absolutely. Just open that line of communication with the fleet manager. And right now is a great example. We're going to talk about it a little bit more, further on. I'm sure you'll hear it in this meeting, being the captain of your ship. But when you're out there on the road, if you decide it's not safe to drive, if you're not comfortable moving your tractor, you know, everybody out here, everybody listening, everybody in every terminal has a different level of experience. So, you know, just because Dave feels comfortable to drive down the road doesn't mean that I feel comfortable moving down the road. So communicate that with your fleet manager. You know, unfortunately, we've got another big storm getting ready to hit the United States. It's already started out on the West Coast. We sent a safety or a message out on to the trucks, I guess a couple of days ago, and it's on the weekly safety staple again this week. But you know, we're looking at snow all the way across the country from the West Coast to the East Coast, primarily, you know, middle of the country and north, but it looks like it's going to be pretty bad. We're forecasted to drop down into the single digits here as early as Sunday. Lots of snow around here next week, it looks like, and so it's going to be like that all the way across the country. So talk to your fleet managers, err on the side of caution, make sure you're thinking about your safety before you're moving the tractor, all right?
All right. Any questions so far? This is your all's meeting. It's a good time to bring them up anytime, or we'll be able to try to get them answered for you. So if not, let's head on out to Pittston, Pennsylvania. Let's go out east. We have Rick Ifford or Richard Brock out there, or maybe both of you.
Ooh, hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Morning.
We're doing fine.
Hey, glad to be here. And you just want to talk about, you talked about storms and winter weather. You know, it seems like we've talked about that more this year than we have in the last couple of years. And it's just been crazy with the storms coming across the United States and snow piling up. And just want to talk about parking lot safety a little bit before, so we can get this out of the way. Salt trucks try to do the best they can. We salt as much as we can, and same with truck stops, but it gets tough in between trucks and trailers to get that salt in there and get rid of that snow and ice. So when you're dealing with those situations and you've got to wind a landing gear down or up, just make sure that when you're walking between trailers that you walk and you watch where you're going, and have a good pair of shoes on. If you got a pair of shoes on that has no traction on the bottom of them, probably not the best pair of shoes to be wearing in the wintertime. Have something that's warm in the winter, and be prepared for those situations, because they do happen, and slips, trips, and falls do happen in parking lots.
You know, that's a really great point, Rick. And I will tell you, even for those of you, especially our PSDs and our instructors that are down at the pad, you know, we do the best we can with getting that. So just watch when you're stepping out of those trucks, especially if there's a little bit of snow on the ground. You put that snow on top of the ice, and now you don't know what you're stepping on. You end up falling. So just be careful, exercise best precaution, and you know, take it slow when you're getting out of those trucks. And that's all I got.
And one more thing on that is 3 points of contact. Always make sure that you have 3 points of contact when you're getting in and out of trucks, trailers. You'll save yourself that way. Back to you guys. Thanks.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that, Rick and Richard. And, you know, I think that Stephanie's on hold message this week specifically talks about 3 points of contact. So great advice there for us. So let's go out west to Utah. I believe we have Justin Walker and Jonathan Grice this morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're great. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Hey, this week has been really, warm at the beginning of the week. Now we're getting a lot of storms and snow and ice. Commute this morning from my house to work was a little bit dicey. So just be safe out there. There's more storms coming this weekend. And if you're ever in Salt Lake City, waiting for the storm to come out, or to pass by, just stop by and see your fleet manager, myself, and safety. We can go over cameras if you have any questions on that. Just make sure we can help you out any way possible.
All right, we appreciate it. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, guys. I appreciate your guys' comments talking about transparency a second ago, because that was kind of what I was wanting to talk about this morning, was going over our prime, overall value statement. Do your best, do what's right, and treat others the way you want to be treated. I like to summarize that in 4 words: effort, integrity, respect, and kindness. If you carry yourself with those 4 things every single day, that's going to go a long, long way for your overall success. You're going to be promised to get those things from anybody in-house, whether it be your fleet manager, safety supervisors, all these other outlets that you guys have for support. We're all here to help you guys be successful. And the hope is that translates over to your guys' communications with our customer base. You know, if you go into shipper receiver, you know, you show up with kindness, you show up well dressed, you're talking about how can I help you guys? Is there anything you need me to do before I depart? You know, those things go a long, long way for us to be able to obtain more customers, negotiate higher rates, and just, again, promote more success for us long term. So I wanted to kind of leave you guys with that. John Greenlee is going to come up and talk about some operational topics today. Thank you guys for everything you do. Please be safe out there.
Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to talk about a couple of things. For those of you guys that don't know me, I was a driver here for about 13 years before I came in-house. At Prime, we hold two things at the top of basically the totem here: safety and service. Okay, those are our two major concerns. Safety, we can sum up into one thing, really, as winter comes in, and that's just remembering that you're the captain of the ship. If you don't feel safe, don't drive the truck. Shut it down. Don't let other drivers out there dictate your driving habits. Just because somebody else feels safe does not mean you are. Don't overdrive your skill level. Okay, I'm going to move on. Basically, service can be summed up into a couple of things. And one thing I know that I'm kind of frustrated with as a fleet manager is to add things to a driver when it comes to service. So remember, there are a bunch of things that can affect service. Shipper could load a load late. We have mechanical delays, weather delays, you know, traffic delays, accident delays. There's all sorts of things out there. What differentiates whether a service failure can be put on a driver versus, you know, some other situation really boils down to communication. Okay. And there's nothing more frustrating than having a driver. I had two guys last week, 3 days on a load, solos. They show up late and you call them and you say, hey, what happened? Well, I ran into snow in Wyoming. Okay, well, you just delivered in Virginia. Why don't we have any information about the snow or the shutdown in Wyoming? Well, I forgot to say anything. I was running too early. We got to have better communication. So if you guys would please remember, communicate any delays. If it's a shipper delay, before you leave out of there, make sure you get an ETA to your fleet manager so we can start working on those in real time and update our customers and get everything taken care of that we need to. If you have weather delays, even if you're running early on a load, make sure you talk to us and let us know that you have those weather delays. Any kind of breakdown, make sure you communicate to us. That's just really big helpful, and it's one of those things that you know, Prime just really holds as important here at Prime. That's all I have, guys.
Hey, good morning, John. So tell us, how long have you been a fleet manager here at Prime?
Did you guys not hear most of that?
I heard how long you drove here. Maybe I missed how long you've been a fleet manager. I apologize for that.
Okay, so, yeah, fleet manager, I've been in-house for about 13 years now. I came in-house in about 2011 at the end of it. I took a fleet over in 2015. I run about 84, 85 trucks right now.
All right, we appreciate it. You're on the refrigerated side for those who don't know. So, John, we appreciate you speaking this morning. Again, if you're out in Salt Lake City, grab John there if you have any questions, and we'll bring it back here to Springfield this morning. So, good morning, everybody. All right, we got a little bit of a reaction.
Yeah,
morning.
we did. Yeah, and since we've changed the format a little bit, so I think there's some people still catching on. But I loved what our last two speakers have talked about. Really, Pittston and Salt Lake was about, you know, watching your speed out there on the highways, and that makes a big difference. You mentioned that too. You know, keep your speed appropriate for the conditions and your driving ability. That's an important thing to remember. And just like John mentioned earlier, you know, just because you're out, you see other trucks out there flying by, it doesn't mean you have to go that fast, you know. And if you feel uncomfortable, hey, look for a place to stop and get parked. Maybe it's not the snow and ice that's bothering you or the rain. It could be the wind, and we've had those situations come up too. When you're running empty, 25, 30 mile an hour wind can make handling that trailer when it's empty extremely difficult. So slow it down. And if that's not going to, if you think you're impeding traffic or it's not safe, get a place to park and get a hold of your fleet manager and communicate. So
you have driven before.
Yep.
You're from Iowa, so you're more acquainted to the cold weather, the snow and ice. So for the folks that maybe you're just getting into the trucking business out there that are here or listening, what are some tips? If I'm sitting at a truck stop in the morning and I'm just trying to decide, should I go, should I not go? What are maybe some things I can be looking at? What can I be doing to maybe make the best decision?
if you're doubting yourself, that probably tells you a lot right there. If you're doubting the conditions and your ability, maybe, hey, get on the app for weather, see what the weather is doing around you, where you're going, what's it look like, and also, hey, pick up the phone or grab a hold, get your cell phone out and call your fleet manager while you're parked and say, hey, what's it look like for weather out in front? I've only been doing this for 6 months or 3 months, or maybe it's 4 years. Nothing wrong with that. What's it look like? And hey, they're more than happy to pull it up and talk you through it. And if you can't go, that's fine. Let them know that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, myself, I grew up north. I grew up in Iowa and I've lived in Wisconsin, did a lot of winter weather. That's kind of stuff never really bothered my abilities. What worried me the most was the people around me. And the people going by, and even the big trucks going by extremely too fast. And you can look at their tires and you can tell, if that person has to stop, they're not going to be able to stop. You know what I mean? And so those are the ones you want to stay away from. The fog conditions, when you can't see, that gets extremely nerve-wracking and can bother you. And that's for anybody out on the highway. So if you come across fog, hey, find the best place to stop, the safest place, get pulled off and take some time. Usually, John, in our environment today, we're very fortunate with the highway crews we have. Even down here in Missouri, it's gotten better compared to what it was 15, 20 years ago. But give these road crews a couple hours, 2, 3 hours. Many times, you can take off after that. Get the roads salted and sanded and plowed and get them cleared off for you. You can get out there and you can make some, get on down the road a little bit. So, once again, it goes back to if you're doubting yourself, you're doubting what's going on, it's probably a good bet to just stay parked for a little bit longer and investigate and see what's going on. So.
Absolutely. Great advice. Let those road crews get out and do what they're supposed to do. Clean the roads off, put salt down, make it better for travel. Let some other traffic go up and down the roads, break that snow and ice up. Also you can, while you're parked in the truck stop or rest area or wherever, if you're watching vehicles drive by you, if you don't see that water trail coming off the back of their tires, that means that the ground's frozen, right? So just a couple of tips to think about, that I know I've learned over my 21 years here at Prime, just to help you out there out in the wintertime. So.
All right, what do we got next? Looks like we got security up.
We do. We're going to bring Bill Baining up from security. Good morning, Bill.
Morning.
Unfortunately, usually we bring Bill up, it's because we've had a couple of issues happen. So
yeah, unfortunately,
go ahead.
The industry is not moving in the right way. Currently, right now, we're up about 25% in cargo thefts from last year. And last year was up about maybe 50% from the year prior to that. So we are just not moving in the right direction whatsoever. So some of the things that we're seeing is that when trucks are being stopped, people are breaking into the back of these trailers, and it doesn't matter. And it's not only the reefer side, but it's also the flatbed. We're seeing flatbed cargo being stolen also. So the number one thing being stolen right now, unfortunately, is food and beverage drinks. Food and beverage is the number one thing stolen. And the reason is real simple. There's no serial numbers on any of your food whatsoever. So if I go and steal a bunch of steaks like we just had the other night, guy lost 2 pallets of steaks. How easy is it for me to sell those steaks? I can go anywhere I want to and sell those steaks, and it's just pure profit. So here's what we're going to ask you guys to do, and I know we preach it all the time. Please make sure you lock your trailers, and you have to lock them, and we recommend you use an alloy lock. The alloy lock will save you money, and I just say, well, wait a minute, it's going to cost me $50 or $100 to buy this alloy lock. Well, you may spend $50 or $100, but I can tell you what, you can write that off as a tax on your taxes because that's a business expense. But if you use that alloy lock and you show you're using the alloy lock by taking a picture when you put it on your trailer. And if your trailer gets broken into, you show us that picture, Robert will waive and Prime will waive your deductible. Now, your deductible can either be $500 or $1,000, depending upon which contract you're under. Now, wait a minute, that's a pretty good investment. If I spend $50, I can now save $500. Pretty smart business move, isn't it? So here's what we do, ask you to do. Make sure you use your alloy lock. Secondly, if you stop, please go out and check your trailer before you take off from your stop. If you stop overnight, like we had a driver just the other day, he stops overnight, jumps in his driver's seat, takes off down the road. He gets pulled over by the state patrol. Why? Because his back doors are flopping in the wind behind him. He goes back and looks. Two pallets of cases of meat are gone. We have got to check our trailers every time we stop, folks. We've got to do that little thing to detail, attention to detail. Get out, walk around, check your trailer, make sure everything's secure, and then take off. I don't care if you stop for 10 minutes for a pee break at a rest area. Walk around your trailer before you take off again, because you never know what's going to happen. You know, the thieves are out there. They're going to hit you as soon as you stop. They know reefer trucks have on, you know, a lot of food product on them, and they can get rid of that stuff really quick. So just take your time, take that extra few minutes, pay attention to detail, and I'll tell you what, if you do that, it'd be more profitable than just trying to rush down the road. The more attention to detail you have, the better your business is. That's all I've got today. Any questions?
Right. Any questions for Bill?
So Bill, real quick, are there any specific areas where thieves are targeting? Is it just all across the lower 48 states?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're near a major city, major metropolitan areas are the hot spots right now. We've had a couple smaller ones, you know, but it's the East Coast is really getting hit hard. The West Coast, unfortunately, but your major metropolitan areas, Memphis is still number 2 in the United States of all cargo thefts behind LA. So if you're anywhere near Memphis, get as far away as you can, as quick as you can. In fact, I would tell you, never plan to stop in Memphis or LA if you don't have to in your entire life. Just avoid those places. So that's what I would tell you.
All right, we appreciate it.
Well, John, West Memphis is out for you then.
I know it. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I had to go down there for business one time, and I had to stay. I stayed probably 20, 30 minutes out of Memphis there in a hotel. So,
you know, what's interesting, Bill brings up just checking your trailer, making sure you do a walk around. You know, even if you take a 20-minute power nap or a 40-minute power nap and you're going to jump up and out of the bunk and ready to roll again, get outside and do a quick walk around. You know, check those trailer doors, check that fifth wheel, check your tires. You got a low tire, it's a lot easier to address it right there at a truck stop or a rest area than it is when you're on the side of the road down the highway. So, you know, do those small things, you know, and many times getting up and getting out in weather like this is what wakes you up, man. You get out, and that's why I like walking between here and the building. I go outside this time of year because it wakes you up. That cool air feels good in the lungs and gets you going. And so, you know, things like that. But don't take shortcuts and just assume everything's okay, because that's when, like Bill says, we got trailer doors flapping in the wind going down the road, and that's not a good image, and it's not a good situation at all. So.
Absolutely. So, you know, while Bill was up here talking, Bruce here came up and gave me a really good tip to share with everybody. So I wanted to do that right now. Bruce has been here for 5 years driving, has a lot of experience out there on the road. So what Bruce will do whenever he's stopped at a truck stop and he's deciding whether he should drive, not drive, he'll walk up to the fuel line and maybe some of those tractors that have just pulled in to get fuel that have been out on the roads, and we'll talk to them and ask them, you know, how are the road conditions? What are you seeing? What's the traffic like? And while he's doing that, he's walking across the parking lot. He's getting a feel for it with his own 2 feet as well. So that's a great tip, great advice, and we greatly appreciate that.
All right, moving on. I think we have another speaker coming up from our IT department. Go ahead, Johnny.
We do. We're going to bring Brianne up, and Brianne's going to talk about Copilot. We've had some questions come in about this, so good morning, Brianne.
Morning. I'm Brianne. I work in the IT department. So everybody should hopefully have your tablets now that you've switched over to GeoTab. And one of the questions we get a lot is about Copilot. So that's our new navigation that we're working on. I remind you that it's very new. And so we spent a lot of years working on Navigo on the QCs to make it what it is. But unfortunately, they're not in business anymore. And so we weren't able to move some of that stuff over. So we had to start again. So there is a lot of stuff that's not perfect in there, but we want to make sure that we're giving you the best opportunity. So if you've signed up for a free trial, you did it the wrong way. So in Prime Mobile on the tablets, there's a button that says Activate Copilot, and that puts you into our company license that has all of our customer codes and fuel stops and everything loaded in. So you're going to want to make sure that you go back and do that activate so it does it the right way so you're a part of our company license. The second thing is inside Prime Mobile on that tablet, you're going to have buttons that say Open in Copilot. That's going to send that entire load over, all the stops, the fuel stops, every part of it over, and that works on your active load. If you only want a certain stop, you can do the next one, or you'll see on each individual stop, if you open them up, there's also an Open in Copilot button. So you can send each one of those individual stops over if you don't want to do the whole load in one piece. If you know you're going to stop someplace or you're somewhere and you just want to get your directions to the next stop, you can do them individually. The next thing that's super important and what we see the most of, if people get routed on really small roads, they don't like where it's sending them. It's most of the time we see because they've picked the wrong profile. So a lot of times we have people picking hazmat when you're not hauling a hazmat load. That will not let you go through city center and stay on the highways. It will direct you in different ways because you've selected hazmat. So it's very important if you're not doing hazmat that you pick the right one. If you're a 48-foot trailer or a 53-foot, you'll see 53-foot IC, 53-foot IC with avoiding tolls, or you'll see a 53-foot company, depending on which division that you're in. So it's very important. Most of the issues we see when people report to us issues is because they've selected the wrong profile. It's going to load it in. You'll see it open up. And then you'll see all your stops. You can add them, you can adjust them, you can change them, you can select. It'll give you sometimes a couple of different options on which way you'd like to go. But I would like to make sure I say that navigation is not a replacement for an aware driver. You still have to do proper trip planning. It's just a tool. So if you see signs that say this is not a truck route, it's important to follow those signs and make sure that it's not sending you down a road that you're not comfortable on. If you look and it's telling you go down a dirt road that you don't think is right, make sure you get yourself someplace safe and look that up and figure out a better way to go. It is just a tool. And a really great place to look for information is on that homepage of Prime Mobile. There's that Geotab info button. It's got a whole section for navigation where we're continuing to add stuff. We're waiting for them to give us a training video and some other stuff that they're working on, but you'll see there's some other tips, some how to get started, how to activate Copilot, how to do all kinds of stuff with Geotab, with the navigation, all of the pieces right in there. So there's a lot of information right out there on that tab. If you do have problems, if it does give you a crazy route, inside of Prime Mobile, send a message to Prime Mobile Help and tell us what trip you were on and tell us which road was wrong. Sometimes I get people tell me that this trip was wrong, but it's also a 750-mile trip and I have no idea where in that place it thought it was wrong. Was there a bridge that was the wrong weight? Was there an overpass that was low clearance? Was it a non-truck route that it sent you on that you had to detour? If you just give us what road you were on and maybe what time-ish of day, we can go in there and find that information and we block it and then it updates automatically for everybody else going forward. So if you'll just send us those, if you come across them, we'll be glad to fix them and get them updated as soon as we can.
It won't.
Hold on one second.
So how do you reset to activate? But on mine, it won't allow you to reactivate again.
So you can call us on the help desk anytime. We're there 24/7 and we can help you. Or if you log out, if you're under that free trial and it's not working, log out, force close the app, and then go into Prime Mobile and it'll let you reapply that license. But if you call us, we can remote into that tablet and help you wherever you're at. So if you're not somewhere here, or if you are here, pop that tablet out and bring it over to us at the help desk. We got IT people in Pennsylvania and in Salt Lake City. Pop that tablet out and bring it to us and we'll gladly help you with it.
So where is the help desk located at?
This bottom set of windows right over here in the main building, you can't miss us. We have the tall walls because we don't like to talk to people all that often. Just kidding. You'll see us right in there. You have a big open spot that's called the help desk and we'll help you with anything you need.
Oh, another question. Go ahead.
Question.
Yeah, why not bring back the ability for drivers to set personal settings on that?
Well, because we can see that as many people don't always pick the right settings. We have that problem a lot with hazmat. And we have asked Copilot to open up a few more of those settings to make it where you can do a little more customization, but still follow the right routes. And so they're working on some of those things for us.
Because what I'm talking about is like the colors of the maps, the style of the maps.
They don't have all those options.
Because I know I got the personal version of that and it's got all them options on it. That's why I was wondering.
It does. And so our corporate license doesn't have all of those options. And so we want to make sure that we're providing the safest routing possible. So we got to lock down some of those
Okay.
pieces.
Thank you.
Any other questions, including Salt Lake, Pittston, here in Springfield?
Okay, if you need us, message Prime Mobile Help. We're always here.
Thank you, Brianne. Awesome job. Give her a round of applause. Yep.
Yeah, that's great information. And I will tell you, if you're at a terminal, please utilize this resource right here. Richard and Brianne right here sit at the table. They're going to stick around a little bit. They do sit right up here on the first level, right above the fountain. But if you have any questions about not only Copilot, but the Prime mobile app, the Prime mobile app is going to be a huge part of your business. So you need to get familiar with that. They can help you. Richard, Brianne, anybody in that department can help you, familiarize yourself with the Prime app as well.
And she brought up a great point. That Copilot's just a tool. It's not the rule. It's not always going to be 100% accurate. So you need to remember that. I'm kind of old fashioned, Johnny. You mentioned I drove years ago. I lived off my Rand McNally Atlas because company I drove for didn't have communication. We didn't even have satellite communication in our trucks. So we had to stop and call fleet managers on the phone the old school way. But that being said, I still advise drivers, get yourself a Rand McNally Atlas down here. It shows you where all the stationary scales are on these states that you're coming up to so you can be prepared. Yeah, you got DriveWise, but let's say, for instance, DriveWise doesn't work or something comes up. Hey, you got that right there. You already know you got a scale coming up because you look at your Rand McNally Atlas. You know where you're going. You know what road you're looking for. If you have to, you can write it down a little stick-it note, put it up on your dash. Not a bad idea because, it's kind of old school, but it does help you. But, and I'm not going to say it's better than the Copilot, but it does help you in conjunction with the Copilot. So keep that open in your mind, don't just depend upon one thing, and I think that having both makes a big difference.
Absolutely. It'll make you safer. It'll make you more comfortable, with your decision about where you're going, when turns, exits are coming up as well. So great point on that.
All right, let's talk about some safety, shall we?
Yeah, what do you got for us?
All right, we got this past week, we had 157 DOT inspections. 103 of those were clean. So a 66% clean rate. So good job, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. Johnny, what's more impressive though, this past week, we paid out $10,325 on clean inspections. So we cleared that $10,000 mark, which is awesome. Clean inspection nets you $100 for independent contractor, $25 for company trucks or company drivers. But that being said, one thing that can ruin that clean inspection is by not having an IFTA sticker on the side if the state sees you, or a HUT sticker, or having your insurance, proof of insurance inside your permit book. I know a lot of us use the Prime mobile app and you can pull it up and you could show the officer legally. Yes, they're supposed to take that electronic device and be able to see that. Many states we don't have a problem with. But if you don't have cell coverage and you can't pull it up on your phone, guess what? Now you're in violation unless you have a paper copy you can drop back to. So I suggest having both. Make sure you got the paper copy of your insurance, your tractor registration. Make sure you got your logging device, the directions on how to use the e-log system. You got to have all that because that's what they're going to be looking for. Make sure that HUT sticker's on your truck. Make sure that IFTA sticker's on your truck. Because right now, Sarah, and citations told me this past week, citations are coming in on those things. Drivers not having those. Not only that, it kicks you out of getting $100 of clean inspection if it's on that inspection. So be prepared. This is the time of year. You got to be ready and you got to have everything updated because that's what these states are looking for.
And those expired IFTA stickers or New York Hut stickers are very visible and easy to spot, and gives everybody a reason to pull us over if we don't have them updated.
100% correct. So, and your IFTA stickers, please take off the old ones. You can replace it right there on top of where the old IFTA sticker was, put a new one on there. You know, if enforcement starts seeing IFTA stickers start stacking up, that's going to tell them, maybe, yeah, they're up to date on their IFTA, but how old's that truck? Maybe I want to take a peek at it. And so don't give them that advantage. You can get through without getting an inspection. That's a lot better off for all of us. But if you do get inspected, just be ready to go. So.
Yeah, other than that, that's what you primarily saw this week on the inspections, or when you looked through them. I didn't get a chance to look through them this week, but you know, we're doing so much better, you know, with our bypass scales. It goes back to the trip planning, to knowing where you're going, understanding where those permanent scales are, keeping an eye out for those pop-up scales. So, you know, make sure we continue doing that. Great job on that. We appreciate what you're doing out there, and to top $10,000 in a week for payouts for clean inspections is unbelievable.
No doubt. So. Okay, we got one more speaker too as well. So I think we have Alicia over here in our log department, and she's going to give us a little update from our hours of service and how we're doing. So good morning, Alicia.
Good morning. So we have been getting a lot of calls about whenever you are logging out of the truck and it's still recording drive time. And then we get calls and they're like, hey, I know I logged out. You probably did. One big thing to remember before you log out of GeoTap is you do need to go over into the dashboard and then go click on where it says your vehicle number, hit the X, and that way it disassociates you from the vehicle. Because if you're still associated to the vehicle, even though you're logged out, it will still pick up that drive time. So just make sure that you go in, click the X, and then whenever you get logged back in, it'll prompt you to enter in your truck number. Just go in, re-add it, and it should have all of your dispatch if you've been dispatched in there. And then whenever you realize, like we've gotten a few calls lately that you're not seeing drive or on duty, you're only seeing like sleeper and off duty, and you're not sure why. What you need to do, go over to that dashboard, look at the vehicle tab, because a lot of times it'll say no vehicle. Click in there, add your vehicle, then you'll be able to have your drive and everything recorded. Touching on inspections, we've gotten a few inspections lately where we are not certifying our logs every day. Remember, it is mandatory for you to certify your logs every day. So each day that's not certified, you could get written up for. So just make sure that you do go in there, verify at the end of your day. That's all I got.
All right, we appreciate it. Before you run off, does anybody have any questions real quick about logs? Nothing. Okay.
All right.
Well, let's hop right in. We're going to show you a couple of videos here real quick that hopefully we sent to Brianne to pull up. So we're going to show you a couple of videos here, and Dave's going to kind of walk you through them, but these are just some videos that we've got that we want to talk about, that we want to help prevent some of these issues going forward.
Yeah, so this is up in Maine, I-95. Go ahead and play it, Brianne. And you can see the driver's going relatively slow. He figured out that, hey, I'm going to pull over for a little bit and find a take a little break here on the shoulder of the road, which isn't the best place, but you can see what happens here in a second. And totally caught him off guard. He didn't think it was going to happen, but there he goes. And what he told me, and I talked to him on the phone a few times, thank goodness he wasn't hurt. That's the biggest thing. But he said that he saw the trailer start going over, and once your trailer goes and he's got a load on, that's all she wrote. It just took the tractor right over with it. So, you're pulling off on the shoulder, those weather conditions like this, it's really hard to see where the shoulder's at. So, maybe he would have been better off pulling off either before at a rest area or someplace, or truck stop, or, waiting a little bit longer, get up further down the road until you can get a safe place to go. But you can see those road conditions were not good. So anyway, let's go to the next one here. Here we have a U-turn. That is a legal U-turn. You can make a U-turn there. And by the way, if you do get flagged on your Netrodyne camera and you have a situation like this, you're in a legal U-turn, we will remove that video from you. You got to let us know. You can contest that on us. So go ahead and play it. Thank you. Now, what do you all see? You see that yellow flashing light? Driver's doing good. He makes the turn. He waits for the traffic to clear, comes back around. Now, if you play it one more time, Brianne, leading up to that turn, you'll see that curb. That's probably not the best on your trailer tires to be running over. I'd say that U-turn was made for cars and pickup trucks and such like that. Probably not tractor trailers, because if you got a loaded trailer, you're going to be putting all that weight going over that curb and such. But that is a legal U-turn. You can make that, and we will remove those videos if it comes up. Just make sure that, you know, flashing yellow means you have to yield to oncoming traffic. So it's still a dangerous situation. So make sure if you got the solid green light, you still want to make sure that approaching traffic is slowing down or stopped, and then you can make that turn. So let's go to the next one, Brianne, please. What'd you see there? There you go. That's not legal. As a matter of fact, there's a no U-turn sign right there. So that is a big no-no. Can't do that. You get a ticket if enforcement sees you, but worse yet, you could be involved in an accident. When you make a U-turn, you got to remember it takes a lot of time for that truck and trailer to clear that path. So make sure, you know, the only time you can legally do it is if you have one of those lanes like we showed you in the previous video. So anything you want to add, John?
No, just make sure that you're really being safe. You know, those U-turns are scary when you're dragging a 53-foot trailer behind you. So, you know, make sure you're yielding to oncoming traffic. You do have a legal U-turn like we saw in the second video there, but, you know, just be really careful. And if there's a safer alternative way to go up, hit a stoplight, turn around somewhere, you know, that might be a better option. So.
Yeah, and you know, we can assume cars should see us when we're making U-turns and stuff like that, but they don't. You know, they're on their phone, they're doing something else, and that's what you have to assume. Nobody's really paying attention to you because they're not. So, you know, you can't assume that, and you have to make sure it's legal to do, and if it's not, you know, you're going to get flagged for it. So then we'll have a conversation.
All right, well, let's move on here to our next speaker. You know, typically, you know, we're going to honor the military, remember everyone deployed, but I'd like to bring Steve Wutke up here because I know that you're a veteran. So I'd like for you to do that this morning, if you don't mind.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. I want to go back to these videos on this U-turn thing. And there ain't nothing good about a U-turn. I don't care whether it's legal or whether it's not. Man, that's a dangerous function in this industry, okay? So I would suggest that you get somewhere where there's a light and you can make a really nice, safe turn. Those U-turns are nasty. Now, I'm in sales. I drive a car when I'm out there, and I make a hell of a lot of U-turns because I make some mistakes. But it's a little different situation, you know? You're dragging a big old trailer around there. Traffic's flying by. You get a driver like me that's not paying attention, and I slide under your trailer going 60 because you're making a U-turn. That's not a good thing. Not a good thing for either of us. So this is real safe driving. It's your responsibility as an operator. You chose to do that, okay? So please, if you take nothing else away from this meeting, no U-turns, okay? Don't do it, please. Yeah, my name's Steve Wutke. I'm in sales. I'm in safety right now, David. I think our safety guys took it a little easy on you on those U-turns. But given that, I also served our country as Robert Lowe served our country. We'd like all of you that serve the country with us, please stand up and be recognized for your service. We truly appreciate it. So stand up and thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your service. I'd also like to welcome you folks that are in the green vest that chose our company. Thank you very much. We think you made a good decision. When you were recruited, if somebody told you we're perfect, I'm sorry. They didn't mean to say that because we're certainly not. We know we can get better every day, and we certainly value what you all do. A couple of things I heard this morning in the safety meeting that I'd like to tag on to, and that is the communication piece. You heard both Johns talk about the safety or the communication piece. So in sales, we really want to get out and meet our customers face to face. We think a lot of phone conversation, texting, that's all good, but it's really hard to lock down a deal until you visit face to face with that customer. See, I say that's the same for you and your fleet manager and your road assist person and your payroll person. You really need to get out in front and meet those people face to face. It's important, make the bonding of that relationship so much more important for you, and our people will remember you. So please keep that in mind. In general, we see the business picking up a little bit, although I will say the government told us in January, retail business was off about 1%. It's crazy. It's a little up and down. Income tax time is coming. I think people are spooling away a little bit of money to pay their taxes, but we're going to get on through it. We're winning with many of our customers in these bid processes that we're participating in. Rates are moving up, volume's coming along with it. So the reason we're able to do that is because of the service you all give us. Nobody replicates the Prime service. Please continue to give us that good service, but please do it safely. We don't have a customer that would expect you to try to run on ice or in unsafe conditions to make a delivery. But the key again is for you to communicate with your fleet manager so we can talk to that customer. Thanks again for everything you all do. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. You guys still got time. There's flowers out there. You better do something nice for your women. It's going to be a problem if you don't. So, we haul a lot of chocolate. We haul a lot of flowers, a lot of nice products. So get out there and do something for your Valentine, okay? Thank you all very much. Be safe. I'd like to bring up the owner of our company. I don't know if Daryl's here, president of our company. I don't see Daryl.
No, he just had a baby yesterday.
Oh, really? He's a daddy today?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I was out selling. I didn't get it, but congratulations to Daryl. That's great.
I mean, it good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful little girl. Dave was talking about the technology and the different generations, and Steve and I go back a few generations even before Dave. I mean, as bad as I hate to admit it, and all appearances notwithstanding, I mean, he's a little bit younger than we are, Steve. I drove at the company, Midwestern, that Steve was a big executive in.
I was never a big executive.
He thought he was. He changed his story now, but at the time he thought he was a big executive, right? I know he thought he was too good to answer that damn phone. Because, that was in the day, I talk about low tech. I mean, we were in those phone booths. And if there's one inside, you were lucky. If there's one outside, usually they were damn cold. It was damn cold. Steve, pick up that damn phone and talk to me, man. I think he'd pick it up. No way. Just ring, ring, ring. And then he'd be busy. He'd be talking to Steve, he'd bullshit with somebody else. So, I mean, that's just the way he rolled back in those days. But it was a lot different back then. True. I mean, high technology was a phone booth. Some of those phones were just hung up on the wall in the truck stop, so you could kind of hear what every driver was talking about. And with those, some interesting conversations. Man, oh man, you could write a comic book or two. I mean, a tragedy. So with some of those conversations, you hear an old boy talking to his wife about, what was going on and why he didn't make a paycheck last week, and all the trouble he was having, and there was some tall tales going on in those truck stops, let me tell you. But those times are behind us. We have this wonderful technology that helps us identify where we are and the routes we're going to take and the information on the loads, and it's a lot better world. Technology is really helping us. It's a damn lot better than dialing Steve's phone back at Midwestern Express back in the day. Ring, ring, ring. Come on, Steve, answer that damn thing. No?
Well,
now he's busy.
You got to go back to the atlas that Dave's talking about when we were going downtown Manhattan trying to find our way to the next customer call. And you're supposed to be the navigator. You weren't so very good at navigating. I just got to tell you, I was wheeling.
Hey, I was a better navigator than you were a wheelman. I'll put it that way.
Well, that's a low bar, you know.
But anyway, we got there. Folks, like Steve said, business is gradually improving. You know, we've got some bumps here in the road. We're not out of this deal completely yet, but we're making progress. And you know what they say, when you go bear hunting with your buddy, you ain't got to outrun the bear. Just make sure you can outrun your buddy, right? Let that bear catch him first. Folks, I love you. I appreciate what you do. God bless each of you, and please be safe out there.
Thank you.